Hi, I'm Stephanie, and welcome to Ready and Rooted Homeschool. If you are new here, I am a new homeschooling parent to my almost 4-year-old, and then I also have a almost 2-year-old and a 3-month-old who are just along for the ride. If you are soon to be homeschooling a preschooler with other little ones along, then hopefully this video can be helpful for you. Today I'm going to go over kind of our daily schedule and routine most days and how that goes for us and how I set it up to both engage my 2 littler ones and as well as get some education time in with my almost 4-year-old. And so this is kind of how our schedule has been going since my daughter's been about 3.5. 3 to 3.5, we were a little bit looser with schedule. Now I'm kind of tightening things up a little bit, and I predict that this is how it's going to go for the first half of her pre-K 4 year as well. Obviously, this isn't a super rigid schedule. We kind of change things up. We have different extracurriculars that we add in sometimes throughout the weeks. So our schedule kind of changes. But in general, if we are at home homeschooling, I'm just going to kind of go through today how that schedule looks for us, what we do, so on and so forth. So I'm going to kind of break the day into a couple different chunks just to kind of give you an idea. We have our morning block, which is when my kids wake up through the end of breakfast and getting ready for the day. And then our little morning homeschool chunk. Then our second chunk is going to be after we finish all of that morning work, mid-morning taking us to lunch. And then the second chunk of the day is going to be lunchtime and afternoon quiet time. And then the last chunk is going to be kind of the end of the day and evening time. So in our morning block, I find it really efficient for us to do a lot of morning work while we're at the breakfast table. So while your kids are eating and engaging with that, talking to them and doing different things with them at the breakfast table help them to kind of remember things. And then they're kind of in a stationary place. So we will go through our emotion cards in the morning. We'll talk about our Spanish words. We'll just have different conversations while we're sitting at the breakfast table while we're eating. Then once we are done eating, I start picking up the kitchen while they watch some YouTube videos that are songs for learning. We have an alphabet song that we like to listen to. They have a couple others that are related to the theme of the week. If we're working on a composer study, I'll work that song in as well as some folk songs. So this week we're learning about the ocean. So we're listening to Baby Beluga in the morning. So just little songs like that they work in while I'm cleaning the kitchen and cleaning up from breakfast. After that, we come back to the table again, or I come back to the table. They're already sitting at the table. I come back to the table, and that's when we'll go a little bit more into our Spanish and ASL. We will do our morning calendars. We will go through more alphabet work. And so we've gotten done Spanish, just kind of general, if you're in the Charlotte Mason space, like that morning basket riches kind of stuff. We've gotten that done in. And a little bit of alphabet and number prep with doing our calendar in the alphabet before we even get up from the breakfast table. After we finish our morning work at the table, we then get ready, get dressed, everyone gets ready for their day, we brush our teeth, all of that, and then we come back out into where we do our homeschool, and we get into more of our unit study. So that means either doing science if that's what we're doing for the day, doing an art project if that's what we're doing that day, or anything that I can do with both my almost 2-year-old and my almost 4-year-old. So my almost 2-year-old, if we're painting, she'll just kind of free paint. If we're doing something for science, she'll sit there and listen. Sometimes she'll participate in the science stuff. Sometimes she won't, and she'll just kind of play on her own. But it's always that first thing that we come back together to do is something that if my 2-year-old wants to participate in, she can. After that, she's usually done and she's going to be off playing and doing something. So then with my almost 4-year-old, that's when we focus down and do either a language arts something or math work. Typically lately, math has been more of a struggle, so I've been saving that for later in the day, but we'll get to that. But usually then we'll do something language arts or we'll do something math. And then that is pretty much it for all of our morning time together. Morning is basically done at that point. It's usually around 9:30, 10 o'clock. I'm feeding the baby and we're going to go outside. If it's nice out, we'll go outside. If it's not super nice out, then we might stay inside and they might play on their own. Or that's when we might like go to a store, or if we have an activity like gymnastics, we might be going to gymnastics, we might be going to the park, meeting up with friends, things along those lines, typically occurring like by like 9:30, 10 o'clock. And we keep that free time, and I keep them in that free time and let them get a lot of their playing done between like 10 and noon when we eat lunch. So those 2 hours, they're just free playing. And then 11:30, we start to prep lunch. And then by noon, we're having lunch. After lunch, we move into like more of that like early afternoon time. And so in that time frame is when my almost 2-year-old is napping, my 4-year-old is going to do her quiet time, and my baby is hopefully napping. We're working on it. But so that's when I do my cleaning work, is during their quiet time. So I clean, I do things like this. And I'll do some like homeschool prepping and stuff in that time frame. Also, if I worked out in the morning, I might shower. I get stuff like that done in that like 40-45 minutes where my oldest is doing her quiet time, which is either reading some books, maybe she's watching some TV, but doing kind of her own thing quietly. And then the other two are napping. After that, I then dive into more focused work again with my 4-year-old. So whatever she's done with quiet time, she's done. And then we come back together, just me and her. And typically this is when we've been doing math. So math has been a little bit harder for her to grasp than language arts things. So we have been working and focusing a little bit more on math. So that time frame is when me and her are going to do our math work together. Right now we're doing preschool math at home, so we'll do 1 to 2 lessons from there together, just me and her, quietly and focused. And then typically me and her also, we have about a half hour in there where I can also like read her a book, and we can work on a little bit more language arts work also. But that is her focus time with no other external distractions, just me and her. So it's what I plan to be, whatever she's struggling with most, that's what we're going to do in that time frame. After that afternoon quiet time, usually we're somewhere around like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon now. And at that point, my 2 older kids are going to have their snack. And we are going to have some more free play until my husband gets home from work. So that's another like hour and a half ish that we're either outside or we're doing some other kind of free play. And then we do dinner. And then at night, we end with my husband doing a read aloud with them again. So the two of them are both reading with my husband. Occasionally, while I am making dinner, I will work in some more independent school stuff that my oldest can do by herself. So whether that's she's using like alphabet stamps with Play-Doh, something that she is good at on her own, and can focus on her own, whether that's doing some like free drawing, some arts and crafts stuff by herself, anything along those lines she might be doing in that time, like while I'm prepping dinner. And occasionally like I'll pop over and I'll be like, oh, like, what are you doing? And we'll discuss what she's doing and things along those lines. But typically our school day pretty much then is done around 2:30. So we do our morning chunk where we're at the table together during breakfast. Then we do our like early morning stuff where we're getting our unit study stuff done and either math or language arts. And then we have an afternoon chunk where we're doing more math, more language arts. And that is generally how the homeschooling day runs for us right now in this season that we are in. Obviously, it's ever changing. And as we go through different phases and different amounts of curriculum and different things that we need to get done, that's all going to flow and be different. But I just wanted to kind of give an idea for other moms who are out there who are doing preschool, of how I tend to set up our day so that we're getting enough like play and free time in. We're getting out and doing our activities, and we are also having those moments where we are focused in on our schoolwork. And so that is just how we do it here at Ready and Rooted Homeschool. Yeah, if you liked this video and you want to see more homeschooling content, especially homeschooling for the younger years and homeschooling with other littles at home, please make sure to follow along with me, subscribe, hit the like button, do all of those fun things that YouTube likes. And yeah, and I look forward to seeing you in next week's video.